spot.
This happens.
Hi, Jeff. It is I, Harley Cameron, and I am inside your telephone delivering this message. Your friend, Payphone. However, I'm to pronounce this without my Australian accent ruining it, because it's a thick Australian accent and I don't always get it right. So I'm going to go with Payphone, and I hope that I'm correct. And if I'm not, I apologize in advance, but I can't get the Australian out of my voice. I also say aluminium foil instead of aluminum. And banana instead of banana, as you guys say it. So, I'm trying my best here. I'm doing my best. But Jeff, I hear that you are a keen watcher of AEW. They watch Dynamite, you do the Collision, the Rampage, all of the following. Rampage, that's the way I like to say it. I hear that you're a co-host on the Dynamite show, recaps Dynamite every single week. So I want to say thank you for taking such a keen interest. I appreciate it very, very much. If it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't get to do what I love. It is an honor, sir. So thank you very, very much for being encouraging and supportive and allowing, us to do what we love to do. And in turn, wrestling becomes this huge, beautiful family that we all become this wonderful part of. I hear that you love old school wrestling, so I'm already a fan of you, Anyone that is a fan of wrestling, especially the old school stuff, is a fan of mine. I'm a fan of yours. Thank you very much. I've also been told to call you Crap Game. Where did that name come from? I feel like I need an explanation as to why you got that nickname. It's intriguing. I'm very intrigued. I'm sure that you're a wonderful person, though, and people are just giving you a hard time. Speaking of hard times, I hear that you've had a really tough year this year, and I'm so sorry to hear that you lost your father this year. It broke my heart reading that. I can sympathize myself. I lost my father a few years ago, and I remember it was just such a difficult thing to go through, and I understand what you're feeling and going through, I'm sure, to a degree, and I just am sending you so much love. So I hope that you have wonderful friends around you at this difficult time that you've had this year. And I'm sure you do, because you know what? They've requested me to come and be in the phone right now. So they must be okay, friends. I'd like to assume anyhow. But I also hear that you got a keen eye for some pretty women. You like to oogle the women that are half your age, I hear, sir. And to that I say, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you are of an age where women half your age is also in the category of appropriateness. I don't want to get cancelled here, say. I'm assuming so. So, as long as it's all safe and legal and good, I don't blame you. I like to oogle pretty women too. I totally get it. Maybe one day we shall meet, sit and do that together. Speaking of which, if you ever do see me in person, please come and say hello. You can tell me I sent you this really long, weird freaking video, and I'll be like, yes, I remember it well. I hope that this has brought you a little bit of joy for this holiday season. Sending you lots of love, and feel the wrath of Harley Cameron. Mwah.
Thank you, Paul. Although you projected your ogling onto me, so
Oogling.
Yes,
Trying to get something here that's going to look here. This is better. This is
There we
better,
go.
even though it hides our logo. Hi, everybody. It's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins, and joining us for the 4th annual 2024 Hook Awards, Kevin Ely of
Hi.
The Boom.
it's nice
Which
to bring
is-
some class onto this show. Finally,
Absolutely, and a face made for, a voice made for radio.
Oh,
Kevin is here,
Yes, sir.
and you'll see the Boom is on a hiatus, which is on the same kind of hiatus as in the clinches. But we do still hear Kevin on the pay-per-view recap shows with Jeremy Finestone, which is pretty much monthly at this point. So
pretty much, yeah.
good to have Kevin here.
are you doing one
And-
for World's End?
I believe that, like, we haven't said officially, but I've been assuming so.
I didn't mean to
I
put you
just
on the
need to
spot
check.
either with that. I'm sorry.
I am planning on it. I just
Awesome.
haven't talked to Jeremy yet.
Awesome. Well, we are going to recap last night's AEW Dynamite. We're going to do a quick recap, and it's going to be dispersed throughout the show. So this is a different show if you're a normal viewer or listener of the Dynamite show. And I want to thank you all as well for listening on the Fight Game Media audio free feed. 2 days late. We'll be in your audio feed Saturday morning. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you decide, okay, I'm going to shut these guys off and listen later, it'll be a day late. Because Friday morning is Scott Edwards and his 5-Star Joshi podcast. So we don't want to step on his toes. So we'll come in Saturday morning. We'll get all those weekend listeners. So, but it is the Hook Awards. And we just heard from somebody who is nominated actually in 2 separate categories.
Yes.
The category that she was got the most support in, we're going to start with, and then we'll recap the first little part of Dynamite. So for 2024 Hook Award for Most Improved, and how we're going to do this is I'll run down the nominees, and then I'll mention who nominated them. This was on our Fight Game Media Discord as well as on X, and then Kevin, Jeff, and then myself. If we have anybody else we want to nominate, we can talk about them. Or if we want to talk about the nominees, we can do that as well. And then we're all going to vote. And if 2 of us can agree, that's the winner. If nobody agrees, then it's a 3-way tie. Or whoever we picked. So for Most Improved in 2024, Harley Cameron got 4 nominations. She was nominated by user BPFSU123. So I don't know his name, but he's a dude, and we talked about
well, he's a regular here. So
yeah, and on X and everything. He's awesome, dude. GG at Rahibilis, the patriarch of Fight Game Media. Lady BB and Larry Sternstein all voted for or nominated Harley Cameron, I should say. Nominated by Kyle Fletcher was nominated by Jeremy Feinstone, Anthony, and Nick Ferrante. So that 3 nominations for Kyle. 2 nominations for Anna J. That would be Brad Reeder. Great follow on Twitter and good guy to interact with. And Deb. Definitely not that Deb. Longtime Fight Game Media member, or a member of the old Facebook group, and great gal. I've met her in person and hung out with her, and she's awesome. And Daniel Garcia was nominated by Dan LeCue. So we got Harley Cameron, Kyle Fletcher, Anna J, and Daniel Garcia. So Kevin, you want to say anything about any one of them, or anybody you want to nominate?
No, I think anyone I would nominate would be in that group. I would pick Kyle because just the last month. Yeah, that would be my vote, I think.
Okay.
Seeing him in the classic, he's the one true heel right now that actually gets people booing him against.
Well, Ricochet too.
Yeah, but that's sort of like still in its sort of rebellious phase. I think a month from now it'll be the same, but he's the guy when you put him against other heels, they boo him against the other heels, and I think he's just found a new gear this year, so he'd be my pick.
Fair enough. Jeff, you got anything you want to say about these guys, or anybody you want to add?
Yeah, because it's one of those things where I am conflicted as to where to put. I have a pick, but I don't know to put them in breakout or most improved.
Yeah, they're kind of similar, eh?
But it depends. I mean, look, I do think. See, I think Kyle is more breakout than most improved, because most improved is usually given to somebody who wasn't very good and is now competent.
Yeah.
In terms, rather than competent and is now excellent. And I've always been mindful of that. But I mean, look, Anna J and Harley, and I'd even throw Layla Gray in there, are all very, very improved. I do agree that Kyle has upped his game to a point, but here's where I'm going to put my pick, because I think there's an obvious pick for breakout star, but I believe that this act should get mention, and that is the Outrunners, who have gone from who have gone from clown team used to put over people to now possibly, I mean, on that last pay-per-view, they were possibly the most over act on that entire thing. And that's not just because they're an ironic gimmick of sorts. They can go in the ring and they have an act, and it's solid. And really, they've been kind of carrying this lame Collision show for a while in terms of that story with FTR and really getting legitimacy over there. So I would throw them in as possibly my pick. Not that the others aren't very good, because like, look, you've seen the improvement on Anna Jay. You've seen the improvement. I mean, Harley Cameron is look, she loses a lot, but she's always entertaining in the loss and competent in the loss now, as opposed to kind of being lost when she first was brought in. And the others have all, I mean, like Kyle Fletcher, there's a lot to be said for his improvement as well, but I just wanted to throw that in as a nominee.
I love it.
So Kevin, you voted for Kyle, right? Jeff threw in the Outrunners. I love that pick. So I can either break the tie or go with my gut and
go with your gut.
Make a three-way. No, you know what? Like, okay, so here's my thought process. I'm torn between Harley and Kyle here, and it's a lot of the same reasons that Jeff gave.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking as well, and I've always been one that doesn't care whether you're going from good to great or awful to competent. I'm probably going to vote for Kyle in the most improved in the 2024 Observer Awards. So if I'm going to do that, I should probably vote for him here as well.
You don't need to be consistent.
I think Harley's going to get a lot of votes in there, though, too.
I do. And Anna Jay is going to get a lot because Will endorsed her on X.
Right.
So, and there was someone in WWE that I can't remember who.
Lyra Valkyria?
No.
Oh.
But no, and it doesn't matter because it's an AEW show. But no, you know who it was, and it wasn't WWE. It was New Japan. Bolton Oleg is another guy that I was considering. But no, I'm going to vote for Kyle. And the reason I was thinking of not voting for Kyle was because I was going to save that for Breakout. But I actually think I have a better pick for Breakout.
Okay.
So I'm going to vote for Kyle, and we're going to give it to him. And if Harley had accepted the link,
if Harley shows up, she's getting it. I'm giving her 3 votes.
And same thing with the Outrunners. I did send Truth the link to this, so if he shows up, he's getting that award. Okay, so our first award winner is Kyle Fletcher, and he actually wrestled on the show we're going to talk about, and we'll get to that. But the show opened with Continental Classic match, Brody King and Will Ospreay, and essentially the deal here was win and you're in. And draw, and it sucks for both of you, was basically what they were telling us. And they had an excellent match. People had sent Dave Meltzer messages saying this was the best match of the whole tournament. I disagree, but that is not to downplay this match at all. I mean, most weeks it would be the match of the week, and honestly, one of the better TV matches you're ever going to see. It was just that Ospreay Darby Allin match last week was so great.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other ones that were at the level of this, including the second match on the night, which we'll get to. But I really like this. Ospreay ended up getting the win. The crowd was super fired up for this. Taz was back. No, he was just there. It's like
I was pumping my fist at Dave Meltzer's rant about that.
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah, I waited to hear it, and oh my god, he's so right. Like, they haven't even done the blow off yet. They might as well not now. Just what I mean.
Knees feeling great.
Dropping F-bombs and everything. I was like, go ahead, Dave. Be passionate about your wrestling finally again.
Yeah, and if you missed it, it was basically. I mean, they haven't even got to the match yet, and Taz is already back. And I mean, the only thing I will disagree on with Dave was, like, they didn't have to bring him back. And I will say, yes, they did, because I could not take another 2 hours of Matt Menard. It's fine if you got Nigel on there, but Matt Menard on Dynamite, just not doing it for me.
But he's exactly right about the continuity issue. And much like I'm still mad that Kenny Omega is going to re-debut for New Japan before AEW, but that's me.
Yeah, that too.
I took my beating for that already, but you all are wrong. So there
Don't
you
get
go.
me started on Tamello.
Well, that one's
She's-
different because she's been gone for so long. Oh, you didn't know,
She
Jeff?
she is returning January 3rd at Stardom for Stardom.
No, that's fine with me.
Yeah, me too. And
Generally, it is
Sammy's
fine
there.
with
She's
Yeah,
gonna become a
just,
killer in Stardom, and I'm gonna be here for it
Yeah.
because I love me some Tay Mello.
And
I
it's
do.
not like she was a big star in AEW. So I mean,
No,
it's fine.
please give me ripping arms out of sockets, Ty Mello. I am here for that, baby.
Sammy and Ty both get to debut in Japan, so that's cool for them. So Osprey won. He advances in the tournament. I believe he's got 9 points. I don't have the standings here, but I know that if he beat Brody, he was going to advance, and he did. So he is. We don't know yet if he's going to be first or second. We will find out as the show progresses. And then the Hurt Syndicate arrived, and MVP and Lashley were told that they were being banned from the building. And they were not happy about it, but they left on their own volition. I think did Swerve show up here as well? I didn't take my own notes. I'm reading somebody else's recap.
No,
I know Swerve and Lashley got into it at some point on this, right? I watched so much wrestling over the last couple of days. I may be mixing two shows up.
no.
Do you realize
Swerve got into it with Ricochet later in the show?
Yeah.
that's true? I love this show, by the way. Like this to me, this Dynamite was kind of a throwback to early episodes where it was just all wrestling. But they did 30% of the tournament in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is why they didn't announce a schedule ahead of time. We know now. We were wondering at the beginning, oh, why didn't they put out a schedule? And this match is gonna be here. It's because like Tony just left all the matches till the end, and then like Osprey wrestled 3 times in like 5 days or something. And Darby too. It was ridiculous. But I mean, ridiculous. I mean, it was great, but it was ridiculous.
Which I didn't mind last night. I liked that last night was just all tournament, other than
Yeah.
Tony. Like it was. I liked that.
The only problem is that I don't know how many people watched last night. So this pay-per-view, like, it's kind of cold in a way.
I'm gonna disagree with you both. I think this
Okay.
tournament's useless, and
Oh.
and quite frankly, they should have plugged the. I mean, they should have really gone hard on the 4-way, but that's me.
Okay. I did like, and we'll get to it, but I did like the segment they did promoting the 4-way. It's maybe one of the better ones they've done.
I have a major issue with an angle they did related to it, but let's
Okay.
continue.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. So we will get back to Dynamite in a bit, but we're going to do the next award, which is Show of the Year. Now, this one I feel like is probably going to be easy, but I'm going to go in reverse order here. We had All In was nominated by Dan LeCue and Lady BB. Deb, just, you know what? I wasn't clear on when I said Show of the Year. I didn't say, like it had to be a pay-per-view or whatever. So she just said Rampage. It's an easy show to watch,
Okay.
easy to get through.
All right.
It's her favorite show. So great. And that was Deb. And then we got Revolution, which was the show that Sting retired on. That was nominated by BPFSU 123, Jeremy, Anthony, Brad, Garrett, JMS, who I believe is one of these Shake Them Ropes.
Jay
listeners as
Messenger,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Larry Sternshine. So a ton of people voted for Revolution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So a nominated Revolution, I should say. I'm being very specific here. So we got those 3 nominations. Jeff, Revolution, All In, or Rampage. Any other one you want to add?
Revolution's my vote. Final answer.
Yeah, I agree. I have no need for debate there. Although I will say All In was really good, and it's a great spectacle.
I am not dissing the other shows or other nominees. I am just saying that Revolution was the best
Yeah.
show that they did all year.
Yeah, and I will also say All Out. Somebody I think did an honorable mention for All Out, and I thought that was a really good show too. But Kevin, you gonna make a clean sweep?
Well, yes, but with the caveat that when I actually went and looked at all the cards today, just to make sure I didn't forget anything, that All In was a better show, top to bottom. But Revolution, the Revolution, right? Yeah, Revolution, the Sting pay-per-view was so far ahead as of everything else, as far as the leaving with a feeling like you saw a great show, even though I felt like All In had. If I looked at it on paper, I would have voted for it, but my vote for Revolution.
Which was the show where Danielson got murdered at the end of the show? Was that All Out?
That was All Out.
Okay.
Yes.
If that show had ended after, like right before, or if that show had ended
With
at
the
the
murder?
end, yeah, before the murder, because then it was the hangman match after that, right?
Yeah, there was an
Yeah.
attempted murder, and then
Yeah.
it escalated.
Right. So if the Danielson match had ended the show without the attempted murder afterwards, I might have gone with that as my show of the year. Like, that was a great show, and then it kind of, I didn't like the ending. But Revolution was, I mean, so great with the Sting retirement and everything. It won't be the last. We'll talk about that Sting moment and retirement and everything. Hint, hint. But yeah, so clean sweep. The eyes have it. Show of the year, AEW Revolution. I feel like this is not the first time that Revolution has won for show of the year. For some reason, they always do good shows.
I think it did in 2020.
Yeah. Was that the exploding?
That was like the Bucks against Hangman and Omega,
and Moxley
when
winning the title, right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 2021 was the exploding ring, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah,
I've deleted that.
69 me.
Yeah. I enjoyed that match, honestly, and not in an ironic way. Okay, so we had Darby and Ricochet in a I keep wanting to say Cruiserweight Classic, Continental Classic match, and the same deal here. Basically, Darby needed a win for sure. Ricochet needed a win or a draw to advance, and super crowd heat for Ricochet. They're chanting, fuck him up, Darby, fuck him up, and we want Samantha, which I guess could be taken as a pro Ricochet chant because he probably wants her too. But then the crowd was chanting for Darby, and people were throwing toilet paper in the ring. Really, really good match. Ricochet is just playing into this crowd heat like something fierce. There was a spot in the picture-in-picture. I don't know if you got to see it, but where he grabbed the toilet paper and he wiped his ass with it and then shoved it in Darby's mouth. The fans are chanting, "You sick bleep." I don't know why I bleeped myself when I just swore 30 seconds ago, but Ricochet did a 630 off the post through a table onto Darby, which was nuts, and they went on for like 10 minutes after that. And then out of nowhere, the ring announcer, I think it was Archie this time, it might have been Justin Roberts, I can't remember.
It was Justin, I believe.
It was Justin, yeah. Well, 2-minute call. We get the most random calls. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 1 minute, and here it was 2. And the funny thing is like neither guy like stepped up their game. Usually when they do one of those calls, and it was like, just whatever. Well, it made sense for Ricochet because he was okay with a draw, but Darby was just just gonna work at my normal pace. And he hit a Scorpion Death Drop, went for the coffin drop. Then Justin Roberts actually was counting down 10, 9, 8. And then Darby is just like not even desperate. And then he hit the coffin drop, went for the cover, but there was like 1 second left and it was a draw. And then Ricochet celebrated like he won because he advanced. And Darby's out. And then as they were leaving, they passed Commander, who was on his way to the ring, and we're going to talk about Commander in the next little segment. But Darby whispered something to him, and then in what I thought was brilliant, because if you know anything, and Darby clearly doesn't, Commander didn't understand a damn word he said. So
he had to tell Abrahantes.
Abrahantes whispered in his ear to tell him what Darby just told him, which I thought was great. And that would play into the next match. So, and then we got a short Jay White promo, just talking about the match on Sunday or on Saturday, and he's going to win it, and whatever. So Jay White promo, it wasn't great, wasn't bad, it was there. Anything you guys want to add about?
I am not on board with the overpraise of Ricochet as a heel just yet. I think everybody's playing their part to boo Ricochet as a heel, because it's the part you're supposed to play. But I don't think he's doing anything expressly great in terms of playing a heel just yet. I think he's doing okay, but I wish we'd kind of hold off a little bit on what a great job he's doing right now, because it's like, well, he's meeting minimum standards of heeldom right now.
When was the last time Ricochet was a heel?
I don't think he's ever been.
Has he ever done it?
Not
unless
really, no.
unless it was like briefly in like a PWG match against somebody who was favored by the crowd. But
Yeah,
I think as
not that I've ever seen.
I think as a television personality, I think they teased it on WWE and then never went forward with it, and that was it.
What? Yeah, because they teased him joining the Hurt Business at one point. Jeff, what you would probably know this better than Kevin. Does this heel turn remind you of? And this is what reminds me of is Sami Zayn, right before he joined the Bloodline.
A little bit.
He was playing this character backstage that nobody liked, and he was actually that's how he got into the Bloodline because he was trying to suck up to Roman, and Roman didn't like him either. So Roman was like MVP. It's like
he had
they're
no
my favorite.
friends backstage, and he just pissed everybody off. It's kind of like what they're doing to the New Day right now. As a matter of fact, too. It's
that
it's one of the, it's one of those. He's not evil heel. It's just all the baby faces are like, you've changed, man.
Well, the difference with New Day is they're actually did something to turn heel, whereas like Ricochet and Sammy, like Ricochet especially, we'll focus on him. I mean, he didn't really do anything. It's just he's a geek. And now,
although my favorite part of this is the only person who sees through kind of this is Swerve going, nah, you've always been like this.
Yeah. That's great.
Which doesn't really put over the heeldom thing. It just you're an asshole and you're playing a good guy on TV instead.
John thinks he might have been a heel.
That's
in
possible
Shikara,
too. I am not. I'm
not a Shikara
familiar with
aficionado.
all. Yes,
not a Shikara historian.
And what are your thoughts on this segment before we get to the next award, Kev?
I liked I really liked it felt very Mid-South to me too.
The match was good.
The matches connect to each other.
Yes.
And Darby planting because I did notice him in the beginning planting the jacket. And I thought, well, that's weird that he put his jacket under the ring instead of just giving it to somebody and then whispering in his ear. It was the kind of thing where it's like, if you're paying attention, you're like, oh, I bet that's going to be something. And then it was. So I just liked the.
I actually missed the jacket part, so
they didn't make a big deal of it. I mean, they didn't even point it out.
I think it was coming up during picture-in-picture, and that's when it happened. I think that's.
I didn't watch. I watched on TV, so I didn't see the picture-in-picture stuff. So.
Yeah, when Darby entered, he threw his jacket under the ring. He like folded it up and stuck it underneath, but no one said anything about it. He just did it,
and that was good too. I like that they do.
I think that spot I mentioned with Ricochet wiping his butt and stuff. I think that was actually in the collision match with Ospreay. So, anyways, I was conflating things because I did watch the picture-in-picture on that one. So,
yeah. No, but they're at least they're conditioning the crowd to bring toilet paper for Ricochet.
Yeah, apparently that was all set up too, but that's fine. It worked.
Because Ricochet's always been ass. No, I'm not going to say that.
All right. Next award, 2024 Hook Awards. So far we've had Kyle Fletcher winning Most Improved and Revolution winning Show of the Year. So now we've got Breakout Star. And we're going to talk about some of the same people that that were nominated in the Improved category. So Breakout Star, Kyle Fletcher was nominated by BPFSU123, by Brad Reeder, by Gigi, by JMS, and by Lady BB. Swerve Strickland was nominated by Jeremy Feinstone and Larry Sternstein. Timeless Tony Storm was nominated by Anthony. Harley Cameron was nominated by Nick Ferrante. I'm going to include this because she nominated, even though this person actually isn't eligible, but she mentioned it, so I will mention it. Javon Evans was nominated by Dev, and Mariah May was nominated by Dan Luque. So some good nominees there, I think. And, kind of taking the different definitions of breakout.
Yes.
And for me, so my initial thought was Kyle, but I'm actually going to go with Swerve. And the reason being is that Swerve broke out to being almost like a face of the company type performer in 2024. Didn't quite get there, but he's close. And I mean, and you could argue that he was almost there at the end of 2023 as well, but he definitely moved up. I mean, he main evented All In. He had what a lot of people thought was the match of the year. And then he had that feud with Hangman, and and he gets among the loudest reactions. I would say the last little while he's getting louder reactions than Ospreay in my opinion. But
Mm.
you know, just for showing up, like when his face shows up on screen, it's just this gigantic pop. So I'm going with Swerve. Jeff, what about you?
I can't say Swerve because I don't think he's a star.
Okay.
And I
Fair.
think it's the fault of the cloudy characterization of babyface / heel, where they never really let him go
Mm.
full on baby.
Either
he
way.
always had to keep that tough veneer type of thing. Mariah May's a strong choice, but her weak booking kind of belies it. It's one of those things where it's like she's been killing it, but
Mhm.
the stuff she's been given isn't. Fletcher to me is the obvious choice here.
Okay.
He's not at the apex yet because he's still in his what I like to call his groundling sketch comedy phase, where he's dressing up in funny costumes to try and seem like he's a bigger pro wrestler than he is. Like the sunglasses he wears are ridiculous. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but he's in his Seth Rollins phase,
Wrestling
so
in
to
the gold
speak.
chains.
Shawn Michaels in 95.
But the Protostar nickname is phenomenal,
Yeah.
and he does have some outfits for
Lady
that.
BB said I had to mention Protostar Kyle Fletcher. I shouldn't have just said Kyle Fletcher. So
Yes, no, Protostar is a fantastic nickname.
Yes.
And when he has a couple of costumes to go with that, and when he does those look fantastic. But the times he comes out with the Elton John reject gimmick with Don, it looks stupid. But to me, like especially that promo he cut as a babyface.
Yes. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. I was thinking about the one he cut as a heel. But
no, that one was good too. But the one he cut as a babyface made you kind of step back for a moment and go, "Okay, this guy has something."
The
here.
one on MJF.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And to me, that was the moment where I stopped thinking of him as a tag team wrestler and started going, "This guy has something as a single star." And that was the moment where I said they should be going full on in and calling him Protostar at every opportunity. But yeah, that would be my pick.
All right. So we got I don't even remember who I voted for now. Swerve. And then Jeff voted for Kyle. So Kevin, you can either make it a 3-way tie or you can break the deadlock.
I think the right answer is Kyle for all the reasons Jeff said. As far as just watching someone become a top guy or a potential top guy. So I think that's the right answer, but I do want to throw in a name just to be mentioned in there, which is Mark Briscoe.
That's a good one.
As far as somebody who, I think I don't want to be dismissive by saying that like his presence in AEW was a bit of like, kind of almost a you deserve it kind of thing, where it was like everyone was happy he was there, that he was wrestling, and after losing his brother and everything. But this year he really became like one of the faces, where they would center entire parts of shows around his promos, and he was kind of leading a faction in a way. And even in the tournament recently, beats Okada, and it's not like a fluke. How did he do that? But it's like, no, he's at that level. And I think he's kind of taken that spot of Eddie Kingston since Eddie's been out, of being the sort of the people's guy,
the blue collar solid guy. Yeah. And
exactly.
there's somebody in the Discord who said I want to run through a brick wall every time I hear a Mark Briscoe promo, and I don't disagree.
I think that was Brad, and yeah. So the good call. I like the idea of nominating someone, but then voting for someone else. That's cool. Like I'm going to do that later too. So no, it's not a criticism.
See, and for me, this is why I didn't want to put Fletcher as most improved, because I wanted to put him as breakout star.
And that's kind of what I was thinking as well, but I just went the opposite way.
And that's no offense to the great work that Swerve did. It was just one of the faults of the angles he was in, especially the Hangman angle.
Mm-hmm.
Which just it just blurred every frigging line of good guy, bad guy week to week, where they kept switching the roles over and over. I think that's the thing that prevented him from being the star most of all, in addition to just being in there with the God presence known as Samoa Joe, who
it's sorely missed.
I have now made as my new Jesus, but who knows? I don't know.
So Kyle Fletcher wins, and I will say one thing here. It is a travesty on AEW's booking part there is an obvious person that should have won this award. If you talked to us a year ago and
Yes.
looked ahead, Will Ospreay.
Oh no,
100%
no! I wasn't gonna say that at all because Will Ospreay should have come in as a star. He shouldn't have been a breakout star.
Right, but he would have broken out.
It should have been Daniel Garcia every day and twice on Sunday because it's like, oh, he got that one win in the
and then
in
he
the
went back to
C2.
losing every week.
Oh, look, here's where it comes. If he resigns, they're gonna push him. Nope, here he is, still the same geek he was before, dancing for the masses.
Dumbass. All right. Not you, Daniel. Should have went to NXT. No, he's doing fine. All right, so we got Claudio and Commander in a Continental Classic tournament match, and as we mentioned earlier, we had that little exchange between Darby and Commander. So the deal here was Claudio had started out strong, I believe, with the 2 straight wins, and then he needed a win here though to advance, and or did he have 3? No, he had 2. Yeah. 3. No, he had 2 straight wins. Then he beat Darby, so he had 9 points. But he still needed either a win or a draw here in order to advance. And Commander's out of it. Now, Commander, we should point out, he also lost to Brody King on Rampage. But at the same time as he was losing to Brody King on Rampage, he was also winning the ROH television title on Honor Club.
How about that?
Yeah, the magic of time travel. So he won a 6-way, and I heard about him winning before I even watched the ROH Go Home show, and I was just like flabbergasted. Like, how do you have a guy win a title over there when he is a loser over here? And then, but I will say, when I watched the ROH match, I mean, it was a great match. It was a great story, and quote unquote, he deserved it, but he absolutely should not have been in this tournament. Like, they have 200 people under contract. It could have been anybody else. But that said,
I wanted Kevin to be in it, but they said no.
Kevin Ely?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, he probably had.
He had as many. Yeah,
he had more wins or as many.
I could hit Claudio with a brass knuck. Sure.
Somebody actually did the math here, and I think there's only 3 people in AEW that wrestled at least 3 times in the year that were less deserving than Commander of being in this tournament. If you're going by win-loss record.
Win-loss.
Yeah, percentages. So anyways, he is in here against Claudio. Claudio is just beating the shit out of him, as you would expect. And then the ref got distracted. And as that was happening, Commander goes under the ring, grabs Darby's jacket, fumbles around in the pocket, finds, I think it was a wrench, and it was the same wrench that Claudio had.
Brass knucks.
Or brass knucks. I'm sorry. How did I miss that? Brass knucks, which was the same brass knucks that Claudio used to win his match over Darby on Saturday. Also the same brass knucks that William Regal used to help Lexus King win the NXT Heritage Cup on Tuesday. And Claudio got them from William. So, I mean, William Regal's influence.
Hold on here. Before you get too far up your own ass about these things. Are we now cheering a babyface cheating in the prestigious C2 tournament to get his only win?
Yes.
His only win to give him legitimacy.
I knew you were going to say this, Jeff. And I am, normally I would disagree, but because of how this all played out, and because Claudio did the exact same thing on Wednesday or on Saturday to eliminate Darby.
You work rate dorks want your pure tournament, and you all are cheering him for using brass. Then I want Toru Yano in this damn thing next year.
So do I.
I
would Toru Yano over Commander.
Yes.
7 days a week, 8 times on Sunday. Like,
hey, Manito, give me somebody.
Yeah,
LA Park.
You know what? And I will say, like, in this tournament overall, like, the purity of the tournament is completely out the window. Like,
no shit.
No, I mean, heels are cheating every week to win. It's fine. That's what it is. I'm not mad.
Look, yes, but you're fine, and Kevin's fine. I just want the Discord types to just get off my ass about how this is just a normal wrestling tournament that's being booked. There's nothing pure about it. There's no.
No. You're right. No, you're right about that.
The work rate geek nation that comes after me every time I say that's a stupid thing to do. Every time that you want to book this like a tournament and have it be interesting and take twists and turns here, and it's like, oh well, somebody may interfere. That may ruin the sportsmanship of the tournament. Shut up.
All right.
Sorry, that's my soapbox. I'm Jeff Hawkins
Okay.
at Cramp
Counterpoint,
13.
Kevin Ely. Tell us how awesome this was.
I don't have a counterpoint to the larger point. I'm on your side about I would rather have a tournament with twists and turns and stories about people getting their comeuppance for something they did 3 matches ago and all that all day. Because I already have a G1.
You know what would have helped if I had remembered that that's how Claudio won his match.
Okay.
Well, they did do a recap before because
Yeah,
I
they
actually
told
missed
us.
that match.
Like Excalibur mentioned it during Claudio's
They
match.
showed the replay.
Yeah.
I
of
couldn't
it happening.
understand him anyways because he's under so much cold medicine that it
Yeah,
didn't
it's true.
matter.
He was in bad
Fair enough.
shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, just the little things of like they shot it well. Of
Yes.
like him
Yeah.
doing it and having the angle of the TV producer in me is like they told that story well.
No, and the writer in me says yes. No, like they
Yeah.
shot and they told the story well. It's just
And
one of
having
those
Rick
things
Knox as the ref was brilliant too because he's an idiot.
where the entire narrative about this tournament is about the purity of it and blah blah blah. Up yours. You know?
I'm over that.
I want
Lady
cheating
B-
now. I want outside interference now and these
Yeah.
dumb things.
Lady B has joined the chat, and she'll be happy to know that the Protostar Kyle Fletcher has won 2 awards already tonight.
Jeff
Breakout
campaigned
and
for the
most improved.
Protostar name, by the way. So there
Yes.
you go. Yes.
All right. So Claudio's out, and so
Thank
that's
God.
that eliminates him. And I kind of expected Claudio would be out, but I also expected that it was going to be Darby that would beat him, not Commander.
I am shocked that Darby's out though. Remember at the
Yeah,
beginning
I
of
was
the tournament
expecting
where
Darby
we
in the Final
thought,
Four.
but then again, I thought Daniel Garcia would get second in his place, and then it would be like the young guys, and then the veterans, and it would be Kyle and Will at the top, and then the undercard would be Darby and Kyle fighting for it. But boy, was I wrong on that.
So after this match, after this match, Death Riders went after Commander. Jay White made the save. And then Orange Cassidy showed up and they sneak attacked Death Riders. They laid out Pac, they laid out Yuta, and then Moxley hit the ring, laid out both guys with his briefcase, grabbed the mic, cut a promo, and basically said they're all delusional. Nobody's getting this title. And then Hangman's music hit. He went face to face. Eventually, the baby faces all got on the same page, laid out Mox. He took off. And so as you know, at the 11th hour, the baby faces are finally unified, but then even after that, they were kind of all side-eyeing because Jay White went.
God, they're unified before their fatal 4-way, where they all have to face each other.
Yeah,
Jesus.
No. Yeah, I mean, nobody thinks any of these guys is winning, but at least they tried to make us think something.
Well, that's not even the worst thing that happened tonight in this match. But continue.
That's it.
Oh no! I mean, when we get to the Hangman Daniels stuff.
Oh yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. All right. Next award. So we are talking moment of the year.
I'm here to tell you that Paul is doing a fine job of organizing this in a world of chaos where I am just trying to ruin the show at every moment. But please,
thank you.
Sorry.
I
You're
appreciate the compliment. Larry Sternstein nominated Hangman burning down Swerve's house as moment of the year. Lady BB nominated Nigel McGuinness's return. I want to do a sidebar here. Did either of you guys watch the ROH pay-per-view?
Yes.
I saw this though. Yeah.
Nigel returned and wrestled. If you didn't watch the ROH pay-per-view, you weren't told about this on Collision or on Dynamite. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like,
were you?
Nigel was commentating on Collision. They never mentioned it.
No, hold on, Your Honor. You said under oath that you said you were shocked. Were you? Really
I was
shocked.
I was shocked that they didn't even mention it. They talked about the ROH pay-per-view. They went over results. They never once mentioned that Nigel wrestled. I was shocked. Deb nominates the DIY heel turn, which did not happen in AEW, but she did nominate it, so I'm mentioning it here. Jeremy Finestone nominates specifically Sting's entrance at Revolution, and Sting's retirement was nominated by BFSU 123, Anthony, Nick Ferrante, Brad, and Gigi. So you can kind of almost say that Jeremy's could be tied in there as well. But I will say that my initial thought was actually there's just that entrance.
My brother has entered with a Ric Flair stand up that
awesome.
I got.
I said
Christmas.
we were getting a special guest. It's
Yes.
the Nature Boy. Woo!
Yes. Woo!
There were no life-size Magnum TA.
Look at this,
cutouts.
same robe.
There were no life-size Magnum TA.
Same
cutouts.
robe. Look at that. Look at Rick checking himself out.
All right, look, stop this foolishness. Yeah.
Woo!
We're now going to use Ric Flair as a security thing for my mom when she goes on vacation.
Oh, cool. She's
Like
in
put
a-
it on the train,
Like in
track
front
and
of
make it go back and
in front of a window, so it looks like somebody's home.
He might not be safe. She might not be safe from the Nature Boy, but
Oh Jesus!
all right.
My brother who mocks me for doing
Nature-
wrestling podcasts.
Oh, you know what? My dog bit off Brody King's head in a hardcore match that my granddaughter booked between Darby and Brody.
Mm.
All of a sudden, the dog just shows up, grabs Brody, and bites his head off. So
Wow.
match is over. Darby wins. Okay.
Oh, there's Rick looking over my shoulder at all times.
Yeah. All right.
Jeez Louise.
And me too. Look at that. Right in front of Chris Jericho's book.
Moment of the year.
Yeah.
I think
So
that was the
mine
moment of the year.
mine was
just now.
actually the video and him. Actually, the moment when he came out with his sons that I cried.
That
So,
was awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm into the aftermath part, and
Yeah.
God knows it. You know what? Us making such a big deal about how that was the moment of the year really kind of puts into perspective how poorly they did the Bryan Danielson
yeah.
retirement and how little emotional impact it had on AEW, because it should have been one of those things where we should have felt a large sense of loss and we didn't, and it was a to the back moment after that. But for me, it's Sting's retirement. Obviously, I don't usually get emotional about wrestling, but I got emotional about that because I felt like a piece of my childhood died at that moment. So yeah, I have a little bit of a bias towards it, but it was Sting's retirement for me.
Kevin.
I agree with the Danielson the actual retirement. But for me personally, the Sting moment is way up there. And it might be recency bias because this was sooner. But for me personally, the highlight of my year was Danielson and Swerve, and specifically in the match, the story they told of him drawing strength from his ornery children.
Yeah.
And just leaning into that. And just as a long time, probably my all-time in-ring favorite wrestler, him getting another big stadium moment to have a show revolve around him after WrestleMania 30. It just clicked. It's fan service to me. So
Okay.
for personally, I'm going to go with that. But I felt the same. Just watching the Sting moment, it's one of the probably truly one of the only really emotional times when his kids did the Stinger splash,
Yeah.
as well as
Yeah.
they could.
It's one of those things for me where it felt like it was the closing of an entire era of wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody who loved Bryan Danielson that much.
No.
but
No,
And
I agree.
But I will say, and I think most AEW fans, if you ask them, and I mean, even judging by the nominations we got here, are going to say Sting's retirement, and are forgetting Danielson's thing, which was more recent. And in hindsight, and I would even argue with foresight, maybe you should have just done the Ospreay match, because I think Ospreay winning the world title at Wembley may have been a more memorable moment.
I would agree with
A
that.
bit better for business, I bet.
Well, it definitely would have been better for business, I think, but also a more memorable moment.
I think also what AEW had going for it was the lack of closure that WWE did with Sting.
Yes. Well, and you can argue that with Danielson too, but more so with Sting.
A bit. It's
Yeah.
God, the WWE relationship with Danielson is so weird to me. In some
And we're going to get the same thing with Edge and Edge and
Oh,
Christian
gosh.
in a couple of years, probably too. And so Sting wins, but Kevin with the late nomination for Bryan Danielson, well reserved. So we'll go with Sting's retirement, everything surrounding it, with a special notation for that awesome video. I remember saying, like, when that video was over, it's like, okay, they don't even have to do a match at this point. Like, I'm good. I that video was so good. So. All right, back to Dynamite, Christmas Dynamite, and it was Okada and Shelton Benjamin. And even though they were in New Japan together for years, they had never done a singles match before this, and this was a Continental Classic match.
That surprised me.
Yeah,
I thought they would have had at least one G1 match in there.
No, I don't
Apparently
think
not.
Shelton. Yeah, well, they were at different levels, eh? Like Shelton was no, he wasn't really a singles guy. He was more of a tag guy, right?
No, he was
in the
Continental
G1 a
champion.
few times. Yeah.
Was he? Okay. What is going on?
There's
you
all
guys
kinds
hear
of
that?
chaos happening.
I don't hear anything.
Is it Jeff's brother?
No.
My son flushed
He's
the
in Winnipeg
toilet.
now.
Your son flushed the toilet and caused this much chaos on the
my
show.
door's open. No, the door's open, and I
Right,
normally wouldn't
gotcha.
hear it, but the cat opened the door. Sorry. So their first match, same deal. I think Shelton would advance, I think, with a win. There's a bunch of tiebreakers and stuff going on here, so I think they both needed a win in order to advance. A draw wouldn't have done it because Okada had the one draw earlier on, and then he would have only had 8 points with a draw, and he would have needed 9. And they had again a really good match. It was an Okada match. It was slow. Shelton tried to pick it up, but Okada was just doing his own thing. He teased the Rainmaker as he always does, and then flipped off Shelton. Eventually, he countered the suplex into a Rainmaker, got the pin, and got the win. Then after the match, Shelton offered him a handshake, and Okada started going like this to flip him off, and then he gave him the hand, and they shook hands. And then I guess I missed this, but somebody, I think it was Kevin, you pointed out to me, was that he actually started giving the finger after.
Yeah, he started doing the thing where you kind of rub your eye like that as he was as Shelton had his back turned.
This match could have been something. And if Okada had been motivated, because it looked like Shelton was very motivated, and Okada could not have given less of a shit. I'm sorry. It was one of those things where it felt disjointed throughout, and every time I watched, it was like, oh, look at the height Shelton's doing on his stuff, and look at how he's putting a little bit of snap on this, and Okada just could not be bothered to.
He was having to work twice in a week, and he's not happy with that. So
I don't want to disparage the guy, but it's still one of those things where it's like when it means so much to somebody else.
Yeah.
You need to get on that same wavelength. I mean, I've done shows like that before where it's like the other person, I don't really like this crowd or whatever, so I'm not going to put in full effort. I'm trying to go, hey, look, man, I don't get to perform that much. I'm here. I'm here to do a great show and give these people what they want, and you just get upset with people doing those types of things to you.
Yeah.
Clunky is a good word for it.
Yeah, clunky is.
I'll highlight that in a second.
Yeah, Okada, is it too early to do prediction on who wins the whole thing? Because I don't know.
No, I mean,
point of Okada.
We'll do a quick full gear preview at the end. So
part of me thinks this is all just going to be Okada retaining and getting to say because every promo says I'm the best tournament wrestler in the world and all this stuff. But it's like Okada means, if you talk about breakthrough, like what's the opposite of breakout? Like break under, like a person who came in and has contributed,
who has underperformed their level.
Yeah, he's contributing almost nothing. He's put like the 6th best performer in this tournament, even,
I mean, I railed about this a few weeks back, but for all those people just screaming at Nakamura who just wants to surf or whatever, I give you Okada.
Oh, he's surfing way,
yet
metaphorically way more than I think even Nakamura was when he.
But yet, if you look up his record in AEW in 2024, he actually's had some great matches.
No, he's been perfectly fine, and he's had really good stuff when you want to, but it's always for the paying audience, not necessarily the weekly audience.
And he
Lady
needs to be one of the
Lady B
people
has
that
a-
helps AEW have an identity that makes them feel like they're a quality alternative.
Well, that's why they brought him in.
Right. And he's just a guy.
He's just there. Yeah.
Yeah. Lady B has a super chat, so I want to draw a highlight to it and maybe ask her to expand on this because I have no idea what she's referring to or answering. Omega, New Japan or Omega? Not
That's
sure.
what I think that she's asking what would motivate Okada.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah. So maybe Okada or Omega, and I think that's where we're going. I hope, anyways. Oh, that's Bobby. Okay, you're right. That makes sense. BF.
That,
yeah,
that would
Bobby.
be
Okay.
where the BF
Aha.
comes from.
All
And
right,
the
Bobby,
PSU, I
thank you.
assume, is Penn State University. I assume he's from
Gotcha.
that area.
And
Okay.
and 1, 2, 3 was his locker room
Or Portland
locker
State,
combination.
I don't know which one.
All right.
Combination.
So after the match, we got backstage. We got a Swerve promo. And Renee asked him what 2025's got in store. He talked about everything he's lost in 2020 or lost in 2024. He's going to rebound in 2025. And then Ricochet shows up and asked what Swerve couldn't do. He's going to do what Swerve couldn't do last year, and that's win the Continental Classic. He shot brother, called him Stefan. And Ricochet just tells him, you know what, you better win because, AEW needs this or whatever. I don't know. He's talking about AEW succeeding. He's going into a raw AEW speech. And he said, don't blow it. If you do, I'll embarrass you and make it big. And then he leaves. And then Swerve or Ricochet says under his breath, yeah, that's why you ain't got no house anymore. And yeah.
That got an O from the crowd.
Yeah. The funny thing is Ricochet as a heel, if these fans are doing what Jeff said they are and playing their part, it's gonna actually be a babyface in like a month.
Maybe, but I could see him winning this thing just to do it, and just to get into the Swerve thing and make that title important, quote unquote. Because I think we might be getting Will Ricochet as the finals again, and Ricochet then screws him again
for the third time in AEW already in 6 months.
Look, it's consistency, and I admire that. But at the same time, I don't give a crap about the Continental title.
No.
Yeah, we should care more about it, but
no, we shouldn't.
Unfortunately, we don't. No, more the tournament than the title. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and if that's enough to make Okada snap and turn babyface and get motivated, I'm here for that too.
All right. Quick recap. Breakout star and most improved went to Kyle Fletcher. Show of the year was Revolution. And also at Revolution, Sting's retirement won the moment of the year. And our next award is going to be Team of the Year. And for Team of the Year, we are not just specifically talking about tag team. We could talk about trios, even stable. So for Team of the Year, Bobby, who we just heard from in the chat, and Jeremy Finestone both nominated the BCC. Anthony, in the same vein, nominated the Death Riders. The Young Bucks were nominated by Nick, Gigi, JMS, Dan Luque, Lady BB, and Larry Sternshine. Brad Reeder nominated Willow and Statlander before their breakup, and seems like maybe they're getting back together soon. And Deb nominated the MXM Collection. She just likes their silliness and is very entertained by them, is what she said.
Unrepentant stupidity is rewarded here on the show.
So, Kevin, do you have another nomination, or do you want to pick somebody out of that group?
This is one of the most kind of depressing categories for me because there was nobody I was excited about.
Okay,
And
I'm going to strongly disagree, but I'm going to let you guys both talk.
Okay, so I want to mention the Outrunners just so they're mentioned because I felt like they genuinely built some support and probably could have been in a pay-per-view match and didn't get that opportunity. But it's got to be the Young Bucks by default, I guess. I mean, in terms of who, the biggest show of the year, they were in the main event putting over Sting and Darby. And then, then later in the year, they somehow managed to get Private Party a little more over than they were. Even though they're, I just forgot that they were tag team champions. But in terms of tag team that actually made a difference, they were really the only team that meant anything.
Okay. Jeff.
I do think FTR deserves a little bit of consideration here, given that they were the base for most of these teams to have good matches, but I won't ever say that it was them because they haven't had, they never held the titles, or did they? I can't remember.
I don't
during this
think
year.
they did. No, Ricky Starks and Big Bill actually did, but
God, they were a good team.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that was a good team.
That was a good team. I think, unfortunately, you do have to go with, like, specifically out of the BCC Death Riders, you have to go with Claudio and Moxley.
Okay. Well, I did say team, so you could just say the Death Riders or BCC.
Yeah, but I don't like most of the team. I just like
Okay,
them.
fair enough. Fair enough.
And they were specifically the ones that brought it on high profile matches. So to
Okay.
me, it was probably them. But God, after watching that one from 2019 and how much tag team wrestling matters here, how much tag team wrestling did not matter in AEW in this last year.
Yeah.
Because boy, in any other year, I would have hoped that Big Bill and Starks would have done something with that run, and they just did nothing. And
Yeah.
I don't know whose fault that was, but it's just like those tag team titles didn't mean jack squat throughout the year.
Okay. I will also just throw in Sting and Darby as a nomination, even though I'm not going to vote for them. My vote, I mean, to me, is the Young Bucks. I mean, they had honestly one of the best years for tag team. Like the number of great matches that they had. Kevin brought up the match with Sting and Darby, obviously at Revolution. They I'm just looking at their thing. They had the match with Daniels and Seidel, which a lot of people don't remember, was awesome in Dynamite in May. Then they had the match with FTR at All In.
Yeah.
Well, 3-way. They also had the match with BCC at All Out with Claudio and Wheeler. That was awesome. They had that just incredible match, one of the best tag matches I've ever seen.
Well, you've convinced me. Let's just make it the Young Bucks.
Okay, but I just want to go over their thing. That match with Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay on Dynamite Grand Slam was incredible, and then the title win where they put over Private Party. So I mean, they had 4 matches that were, arguably, 4.75 stars. Like Fraxium's going to win the Tag Team of the Year in the Observer Awards, but people are overlooking the Young Bucks. And
I don't think they're overlooking the Young Bucks. It's just one of those things where the Young Bucks have a high level of consistency.
True. And again, because their actual characters are just so freaking annoying and counterproductive to the company in some ways. That is part of the problem. So Bucks win, and we'll move on. All right. We got a New York Minute with Chris Jericho, and this was fine. It was just way to.
This is leading to Kingston, right?
No.
It has to.
Yeah, but he's not even close to being ready, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, it's too bad.
Everything about this shouts Eddie Kingston coming in and just beating the snot out of Chris Jericho.
I do like that Anthony Bowens is getting a shot, though.
He deserves it.
Jericho. Yeah,
that's fun.
Now it is happening on Rampage, the very last Rampage of
and if he blows it, I will heckle him at the gym.
There you go. And then we got the only non-tournament match on the show. I'm not even sure why this was here. Actually, I know exactly why this was here. Toni Storm and Taya Valkyrie, and this match was fine. Fans were chanting, "She's a rookie." So they're playing along with this stupid storyline, even though the announcers are pretending that she's just got amnesia. So I'm not even sure what story they're actually telling at this point.
I think they're telling the story that she's acting like Toni Storm as opposed to having amnesia. And I like that theory a lot better than the amnesia story.
I do, except that's what the crowd has picked up on.
I think.
Stupid. But the announcers are not telling that story. So when she actually reveals that she's been Timeless Toni all along, the announcer's going to act all shocked. Oh my God, she was playing a role, And
I will give a tip of the cap to Excalibur for trying to bring in the Deonna Purrazzo, we both got matching tattoos story with Toni Storm again. because nobody gives a crap about
And I'd forgotten
Deonna
about it.
Purrazzo in AEW. That signing has just been a waste of time and money, to be honest with you.
Sad.
I find that sad more than anything. That's the only reason I bring that up.
On some Rampage a couple months ago, they did that vignette where Deanna was talking about friends, and then at the very end of it, Tyus shows up, and it's like, and then I was like, everybody that actually watches Rampage, which is not very many people, were so excited because they're building a faction, and Deanna and Ty are just the start of it, and this is gonna go like we're finally gonna get to, and I'm like, guys,
And I mostly like them
guys,
too. It's just one of those things where
this is on Rampage.
yeah.
Don't get excited. And it's still on Rampage. And when anybody from Rampage shows up on Dynamite, they get squashed like a bug. And that's essentially what happened here. I mean, Tony won. She hit the Storm Zero at the end. Ty got a lot of offense in, but didn't really matter. She basically, she hit the small package. She didn't even get her finisher. It was not a great match. And when I said I know exactly why I was here, it's because they have to have a women's match. Like, that's it. That's the only reason this match was on here. So
True.
I'm gonna go over what happened after the match, but anything you guys want to add there? No.
Not
Okay.
really.
So we got a Hangman interview. Jeff talked about this earlier. He said, and he was with Renee. He was with Renee, I should point out, and it's a joke at this point because Renee hates Hangman. Hangman hates Renee, and neither one of them are very shy about it. And I do believe this is in character. I don't think the two people actually hate each other, but this has been going on for years, and it's kind of hilarious.
Renee's got the most consistent story going.
Yeah.
Her complicated
Pretty much.
relationship with Hangman.
But Chris Daniels shows up, and he basically says, Hangman's like, you're just a stuffed suit. You don't even wrestle anymore. And Chris Daniels says, well, all my friends are gone. And, but I've known you for 15 years and I've got your back. And so he's like basically a crooked executive at this point.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. We both see this the same way, that this is something stupid.
But there's an out, and I'll explain the out to you, and your head is gonna explode when I tell you.
No, my head won't explode because I think it's the same thing too. I think.
No, you know what the out is?
What?
Kenny's coming back, and once Kenny comes back, Chris Daniels is no longer management because he's interim for Kenny.
Oh gosh.
I think that's possible too. I think
that's exactly what it is.
Well, okay, but it's one of those things where this could be a couple things and none of them are good. Like, he might be on the take. He might be doing this in terms of fealty to the Bucks and Omega and then blows the match for Hangman. He could be, because remember, we thought we were setting up a match between Hangman and Daniels. He could screw Hangman on the way.
Maybe
he's set up
maybe he's the higher power for Moxley that he was talking about months ago.
Or he's a higher power for Tony, who decides that we're going to do this. This is stupid. I'm sorry, but Hangman was ready to kill him a week ago, and now we're back to, I could be your friend. No.
Yeah.
It's a four-way. Everybody get the hell. But, I mean, it makes sense that everybody, I mean, the way they set it up, but at the same time, it's like, we could have a Montreal screw job in here.
I don't think
I think
that's possible.
I think it's Occam's razor that, like, it's none of these elaborate theories. I think all it is setting up.
Do you think that is a heel or a babyface in this situation? That in terms of
who, Daniels?
Yes, in terms of what he's trying to do here.
I think he's genuinely trying. I think the idea is that the character is genuinely trying to help Hangman. And I think he's just the way that he's going to try to interfere. It's going to backfire, and that's how Kenny's going to lose.
Why is he trying to help Hangman, though?
That
Hangman's
part,
a heel.
I have no explanation for that part.
Well,
that's what I'm saying is I don't think they've thought it through.
I once thought about doing arson too, sir. So I think I'll help you.
I think they're not thinking of it in terms of
Here's
that.
the Occam's razor. That's even simpler.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel's trying to get himself on TV.
I think that they're thinking that they have to do another finish where Hangman is protected and yet loses the match.
There is nothing worse than if they put office politics on this friggin' show as part of the world title match. I'm sorry if this is in any way having to do with, the Bucks hired Chris Daniels to Dude, I will scream. I will punch a baby. I don't care. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, please do not heal the company. Don't
I'm
heal
gonna
the
be very
company.
I don't
I'm
think.
going to be very disappointed if the pay-per-view doesn't end with an attempted murder by the Death Riders again, because that's like when you buy an AEW pay-per-view, that's what you're expecting to see.
Arson
this
and
point.
attempted murder. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah. So I want somebody to, to have like Lysol poured down their throat, or a plastic bag over their head, or maybe an attempted decapitation. Like I
Maybe
want to
they'll-
see something.
It's all the things that they tell kids not to do. So maybe
Yes,
this time
exactly.
they'll
Turn into
lock
XPW
they'll
much
lock
quicker than we
Hangman
thought.
inside they'll let Hangman crawl inside a refrigerator and get locked inside or something.
And survive a nuclear explosion or something.
Yeah, or take candy from a stranger.
All right. Next award, and I got to admit, at this point, I kind of like flubbed up here because I said promo of the year, and my intention when I said promo of the year was, how when they say like a guy's a good promo,
Who's best on promos?
Oh,
that's what I should have said. Best on promos is what I should have said. But when I phrased it as promo of the year, literally everybody took
different
it to
moments,
mean
yeah.
a specific promo. So
Right.
that's what we're going with.
Okay.
So Bobby, Jarrett's promo on Owen Hart, leading into their match in the Jarrett's promo, about the Owen Hart tournament, basically.
Right.
I assume he means the long one that aired on social media.
Yes, the one
on
didn't
TV
watch.
was good. Right. Jeremy Finestone, Anthony, and Lady BB nominated the Hangman promo while he was burning down Swerve's house. Nick mentioned the MJF promo when he returned at Double or Nothing. I was there live. That was a phenomenal promo that not a lot of people remember at this point. Brad pointed out any of Mark Briscoe's promos, anyone. JMS, Swerve's go home promo for All In. I think that's the one where he basically threatened he'd do whatever he could to Danielson, and that was really good.
Put on a mask, he'd go to Mexico and
Deb, again, not quite with the program here. Eddie Thorpe's reveal that he attacked himself, and the MJF Osprey exchange on the August 21st Dynamite, which I assume was the go home for All In, or maybe it was like the week before the go home, the last one in the States. That was nominated by Dan Luque. So a lot of nominations here. And I am just going to add a nomination that I'm not going to vote for. And my nomination is going to be Kyle Fletcher's promo right after he turned heel. I was just amazed at that promo. I thought the way he controlled the crowd was great. He was reacting. He was getting wooded, and he figured out the best way to turn it down. I never for one second thought he was reciting a script that he'd remembered. He was speaking from the heart. I just thought it was great. But my vote is actually going to go. I'm going to go with Jeff Jarrett's promo on Owen, even though I didn't see the full version. I take people's word for it, and the one on TV was good enough. I thought it was great.
I'm going to nominate, and I'm not sure if it even happened this year. It might have been last year. Is the Samoa Joe in a suit promo this year or last year?
No, that was this year. It was it was Kevin filled in for me that week. I think. Yeah,
that one.
It was the first Dynamite of 24.
Okay, that thing was spectacular. Overall, I am with Paul here to nominate to Jeff Jarrett, because Jeff Jarrett, and he would be my answer for best on promos anyways in this company where nobody knows how to cut a promo, because be it babyface or heel, Jeff Jarrett cut the promo that the situation required. But Samoa Joe's suit promo was the most fantastic promo of this year, and I would, but man, you can't vote against Jarrett being real and emotional for me. I mean, no offense to, because Joe gave the most championship like promo, either with that or with the go home promo on the 3-way, where he was just basically saying, "I'm going to beat both your asses," and walking away. Those things. I mean, he's my close number 2, but Jarrett for me is the guy.
So Jarrett's going to win either way, but Kevin, are you going to agree with us, or you have another nomination? Or
I can't argue with that. I want to be able to say the promo that Danielson cut at the beginning of the tournament that got him the All-In match.
Yes, that was
Uh,
great.
But the follow-up on it, as far as the inconsistency of following up on it, like, I don't know, does it undermine the promo itself? But that was the one that I was like, this is the story. But they didn't stick with it, so I don't, Jared at least was a vacuum in itself, and didn't, didn't have to have a whole storyline following it up.
Now I just gonna real quick, and we won't spend too much time on this, but I just wanted to say, if we had actually done what my intention here was, and we said just promo, like the best promo person of the year in the company, Jeff already said his answer would be Jeff Jarrett. For me, I think I would go with Kyle Fletcher, because he did the baby face and the heel. But it was only for half the year. So if I'm going over the full year, I might actually say Swerve Strickland, even though he wasn't always perfect, but he is pretty good most of the time. Kevin, what would you say?
I'd want to throw in Mark in there.
Oh, yeah.
But it was kind of a thing where it became a little self-aware, where it was like, here's the section where he, hypes everyone up and has the word of the day, and and goes rah, rah, rah at the end and all that.
Unless Paul do an impression, yeah.
Right.
The word of the day is abomination. It's an abomination that Mark Briscoe did not win promo of the year. Kyle Fletcher, very deserving winner. Jeff Jarrett.
Sorry.
Jeff Jarrett's my homeboy. Jeff Jarrett, promo of the year.
If Samoa Joe he's
an idiot,
Paul,
I'm behind Jeff Jarrett as promo of the year. Now carry on with your show.
If Samoa Joe had been there the entire year, he probably would have gotten it from me.
Oh, 100%.
It's too bad he was only there 4 months.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is he's been available the last 2 months. Okay, back to Dynamite, which again, I don't want to downplay this Dynamite. I thought it was great. But Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia. So winner or Kyle Fletcher draw, and Kyle Fletcher advances. Daniel Garcia needs a win to advance. They had a really good match. Not quite the level of the first two, but I thought it was very good. Kyle Fletcher hit the move of the day is Brainbuster. I think he hit 3, maybe 4. He hit 1 off the top rope, and I don't even think that was a finish. Then
what use is the move?
Well, there is that. Or no, I guess that was the finish, but he kind of botched the finish. But yeah, and Garcia sold it like he was dead, and Fletcher got the win. Fans hated it. They were way behind Garcia. No dueling chance in this one. It was all Danny. Let's go, Danny. DG. I thought that was cool. I'd never heard that one before. Kyle Fletcher advances. So he wins his block. He will face Will Ospreay on the pay-per-view. And then Kazuchika Okada is going to face Ricochet, which I believe is another first-time match. So, pretty cool. And we'll preview the show at the very end here if we got time, which we'll have a couple minutes. But and then after the match, we got this Jon Moxley promo that it was stupid, and they should have just aired that Welcome to the Jungle video from social media, because it was nonsense. And honestly, I thought the show was over, and because they actually put the credits up, and I was just about to hit stop. And then Moxley was there, and I'm like, oh, I guess I should watch this. And I wish I would.
They mistimed it.
I wish I would have just shut it off.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Didn't we catch the one of the most over people in the match was Randy Orton?
Oh yeah,
because they did the draping DDT spot, and I guess Kyle was playing into the comparisons that people have been making with him and the younger Randy Orton, and he did the whatever head move, and then Garcia, they chanted Randy, which I thought great, super effective, and then Garcia then played it off again. So I don't know.
We got him, and then we got Miles Bourne in NXT also doing the Randy Orton tribute act. So there's a lot of
that. Is that the baby Orton guy?
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff that happened after the show, and I got scoops, and I haven't seen this reported anywhere else. So I don't know if Jeff, do you have anything to add, or do you want me to tell you what happened after the show?
No, let's just get into it. Then we get to the final awards.
The final 2 awards. Okay, so the person said the show was way better on TV than it was live. It was just match, no commercial breaks. So by about the third match, the crowd was tired, and you could kind of hear that actually. But then he said they ended the night, and this was after Rampage went off the air. So this is after another hour of this, with a full locker room brawl involving the Death Riders and a bunch of random people that have nothing to do with each other on TV, just started pushing and shoving each other, and then abruptly just ran to the back, except Moxley. Then he cut a short promo to send the crowd home, and he was like, what the F? And, and then he said, sorry, it was Orange Cassidy. Then, okay, where was this? Damn it. Hang on. He sent me this thing. Where the heck is it? Sorry. Will Ospreay. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Will Ospreay cut a promo. This is after they brawled after their match. Then Ospreay gets on the mic and he cuts a promo, says, it's so cold in New York, he could hang his jacket off his nipples. Then he says he gave an aura-like speech to the crowd where he was basically like begging the crowd to have better reactions to what was happening in the ring because they're taping Rampage immediately after.
Off.
So he came out and he was saying these guys and girls in the back, they work so hard week after week to put on an incredible show to entertain you. And all we ask of you guys is just show that love back. So we've got one more show coming up. I got Rampage. So let's get it going. And this is his feelings. He said, I thought this was desperate. This is basically the talent coming out and admitting that these crowds have sucked and that they should just react that the show's been dead. It's kind of hurting the show overall. So, and then he was there with a buddy who hadn't been to a live show in a while. And he said the same thing, like, what is this? And then he thought it kind of affected the crowd reactions during Rampage because it was like, they felt like they were being manipulated. And
yes.
Yeah. And it's
I would
weird.
like to think that came off differently in the room, that's not exactly how he said it. I would like to. I've seen those speeches before when Tony Khan would come out.
It's like when an MC of a comedy show, everybody having fun.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I would hope that was the intention. It just came off wrong.
Yeah, I hope so too. But overall, like I said, I liked the show. I thought the crowd was pretty good.
I don't want my wrestlers being needy.
Fair enough.
Bobby
points out 2.5 months in, and we don't know what the hell he's talking about. He's still speaking the riddles. Yeah, it is pretty bad. All right, we have 2 more awards left, and these should be pretty quick. I think there's more. Well, and there might be some contention on one of them. Match of the year: Ospreay versus Danielson. This was from.
Did you announce what the award was?
Match of the year.
I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry.
You got spiked on that.
Okay. Match of the year: Ospreay and Danielson. This was from, I think it was St. Louis. Was it a new pay-per-view? Wrestle
Dynasty.
Isn't that the one next week in Japan?
Yeah, but it was.
Oh, it was just Dynasty.
It was just
right.
Dynasty.
Just Dynasty, right? The next one is Wrestle Dynasty. How could we get these mixed up? Bobby, Jeremy Finestone, Anthony, Nick, and Brad all nominated that one. Gigi nominated Swerve and Danielson from All In. J Mess nominated Sting and Darby against the Bucks. Deb, bless her heart, voted for DIY against the Motor City Machine Guns.
Love it.
Dan Luque and Lady BB.
I was contrarian.
Dan Luque and Lady BB voted for Swerve and Ospreay, which is the only one of these matches that I have not actually seen because I did not get the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. And Larry nominated Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita, which not a lot of people remember, but was a really great match. So, Jeff, do you want to add anything to this one, or do you want to pick one of those?
I am going off the board.
Okay.
As I am wont to do, because I am not doing best match. I'm doing my favorite match.
Okay.
I am going with Darby Allin versus Konosuke Takeshita from the very first AEW of last year. Or this past year. I loved that match. I may have overpraised that match. I remember coming on here and I could not wait to talk about it, and Paul was like, no, we have to get to no, I want to talk about this match for hours on end because I loved this match. And it's going to go into my pick for wrestler of the year, unfortunately. Darby Allin to me. I mean, I Bucks and Darby versus Sting is a very close second for me. But man, I just loved this match. It was violent. It was insane. It was both guys playing the role that they were supposed to play. You guys can have your technical 5-star classic, whatever. I want to see a fight, and I loved this.
I didn't like
went
this
full
one.
Big E.
John brings up Ricochet and Takeshita and Ospreay, the 3-way. That was really good. I was a little disappointed with it, honestly. Kevin, what do you got? Any one of those, or one of your own, or?
I mean, I like the kind of wrestling that Ospreay and Danielson did, so that was kind of peak that for me. But it feels so obvious. I feel like it's going to win everything this year. So that's fine. So I'll focus on favorite memories of matches this year. Was actually just to redeem the name of our award, was Hook versus Samoa Joe.
Oh,
the world title, which was not like a great match,
yeah.
but as someone, who's never had sniffed a ring but pays attention to the work that they do, seeing a veteran like Joe teach a guy like Hook how to have a main event match live on television was really delightful. It was really fun, and it was peak Hook, and he's been nowhere near that ever since. And so that's just a fond memory I'll have of 2024 early on.
So was that like a late nomination, but not your pick, or was that your pick?
No, my pick is Ospreay and Danielson.
Okay. All right. We got to do this at least once. So we're going to end up with a 3-way tie, because I'm going off the board as well. And I'm one that I'm surprised that nobody brought up as a possible, because for me, it was my AEW match of the year. And you know me, I write down all the matches. I score all the matches as I'm watching them. And my favorite / best match of the year was MJF and Will Ospreay. The 1 hour match that they had on Dynamite.
I completely forgot about that match.
I loved that match. Absolutely loved it.
I don't know what match.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't sure if Jeff was mocking me.
No.
Yeah.
People can love Will Ospreay all they like, but I think out of the Will Ospreay matches, I might have picked that one.
Yeah, that's my top one out of all. And I mean, I've watched a lot of Will Ospreay this year, because I got matches from TNA in there. I got matches from Japan. I did not see the one that everyone raved about in Progress. But so for me, that one stood above everything. I actually had the MJF Danielson match ranked the same, but I preferred the MJF one, just for me.
MJF Danielson's a strong call.
That was a good one. And they had a great match a couple years ago too, last year. Revolution last year, right? San Francisco.
Yeah, I might be mixing up the two. So
their Iron Man was last year.
Yeah. So that one was great. I saw that live. And so 3-way tie. With so we got Ospreay, Danielson, and then Jeff had Darby and Rick Takeshita. And you know what's funny is somebody told me that's a match of the year for this year. Right after it aired, and it's like, okay. Yeah.
I'm laughing at Jason's comment, but yes.
This is completely forgetting about a match of the year might be the purest distillation of all of AEW's issues. Yeah. And you know what? When the Observer Awards come out, I will be shocked if that match makes the top 10. Even though
but it won't.
Yeah, and it should. And I bet you Dave, I don't remember what Dave scored it, but I bet you it was over 5 stars. Jason's bang on with that one. All right. Wrestler of the Year. We only got 2 nominees.
Okay.
Swerve Strickland was nominated by Anthony, Brad, Gigi, J-Mess, and Lady BB. And Will Ospreay was nominated by Bobby, Jeremy, Nick, Deb. God bless her for not voting for
Javon
Evans. Trick Williams, Dan Luque, and Larry Sternshine. So Will Ospreay and Swerve. And for me, I don't even know. It's
come
tough,
on. It's
yours
is Ospreay, and
I guess it's Ospreay. But I'm at the same point, I'm disappointed. So,
I
don't
know you should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my vote. But yeah, Kevin.
I'm gonna be a little. Yeah, I'm gonna go man because the same. I think Osprey. If I just go by matches, sure, but like he's not who he should be right now. He's just sort of kind of happy to be there. So I'm gonna vote Samoa Joe
Oh,
Nice.
because he's the only guy who was exactly who he needed to be every moment he was there.
Oh, I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Like
Right
if you
now,
had
'cause
Samoa Joe come back,
if
and
we
Sean
actually
Moxley, I'd
give
be
this
so
award
excited
to
right now.
Samoa Joe, I'm going to be actually really happy.
Oh, Samoa Joe is such a great pick, but I had Darby Allin.
Oh,
Darby Allin is the only guy who makes me. I mean, other than Joe, and Joe's problem was he was only there for 4 months and then left.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But throughout the year, the guy who makes me feel something watching him is Darby Allin. And he's not the best wrestler in the world, but he is the guy with the offense that I love to watch. It's a little self-destructive. I like that. He is the Ricky Morton babyface underdog every single match he's in because he gets the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's in pain, probably because he is in pain. But then he works his way back and comes back and either wins or loses in
And if not for a broken foot in a stupid angle with Jay White, we might not even have got the last 7 months because he was supposed to go to Everest.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to Everest after this tournament, which is fine. But for me, and that seems weird because I know he's not the best wrestler. But to me, he's the guy I can watch every week and go, I'm into whatever the hell he's doing. So I am picking Darby Allin.
So we have another 3-way tie. And it is
with a tip of the cap to Kevin's selection of Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So we have a tie. It's not quite what Curry had said here, but it is actually not even. We only got one out of these three. It's
Danielson's
Will Ospreay.
Danielson's a good pick. Swerve's a good pick.
Yeah.
Don't get
I
me
was
wrong.
real close to voting for Swerve, but it didn't matter. Will Ospreay, just for his and the stupid thing is I'm probably even considering stuff he didn't even do in AEW, which I shouldn't be, but so Will Ospreay.
Will's the guy who kept me buying the pay-per-views. I always knew I was going to get an incredible match.
True. And Swerve, I mean, his angles were compelling, and he went a long way. Darby, I can't. Yeah, that's a good
kind of a case for Hangman.
Yeah. It's and this is the issue. I did make the same argument against Hangman that I would make against Darby, and it's the win losses. But I guess the AEW is kind of telling us wins and losses don't matter anyway. So
well, and to me, it doesn't matter if you're telling a story and a guy is losing in a strong angle. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I mean, God knows. What was the comment about the Horsemen? Every single time they had a big match, they lost, type of a thing. But
who it really should have been?
Yeah,
should
honestly,
have been Swerve. But
no. We should have actually considered Mariah May.
Oh, stop it!
She had a great year.
She had a great year, but she was booked like garbage.
The Pro Wrestling Illustrated style wrestler of the year, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I'd vote for Mercedes over her. Because Mercedes had a hell of a year in big matches.
She did.
That's another one, yeah. Although I actually went over her match list not that long ago, and she had some like
they're not doing enough with
matches.
her. They are not doing enough with Mercedes, in my opinion.
True. John has a question here. Could you say there's been 6 people that has helped bring rightness to this company for this year? I don't even know what that means, but
because we've been going through so many wrestlers of the year.
Oh, okay. It's tough, man. Like that's part of the problem with trying to come up with this award because there's no. I think
no main character.
All these people we brought up have had flaws.
Yes, you can bring up a strong positive and you can bring up 3 strong negatives.
Yeah, like I mean, they weren't around long enough. They weren't booked well. They
most of them they weren't booked well after getting strong wins somewhere.
Yeah, like there's nobody that was strong from the start of the year to the end of the year. Like not one.
Mm-mm.
So that's kind of a telling thing. So wrestler of the half year might have been Kyle Fletcher, honestly, but
I mean, I thought about that too.
Swerve should have been the easy vote, but his booking post all out had positioned him to be it. Yeah, no, I agree.
All you needed to do was go hard with him as a babyface, and they didn't.
No, they blurred the lines, unfortunately, for that Danielson storyline, which again I think was a mistake. So, okay, so we've gone a little bit over here, but it's a special show. And before we go, let's just quickly go over the Full Gear card, which is coming up this Saturday.
Hold
What?
on. Full
What?
Gear?
Oh, what did I say?
World's End.
World's
God,
End.
there's too many damn pay-per-views.
I agree.
Okay.
All right.
World's
Full
End
Dynasty.
2024. Yeah, that's AEW's fault because I got the name of the pay-per-view wrong. All right. We got the Continental Classic. So we got the 2 semifinal matches: Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, and Ricochet. Who do we think is okay? So I think Okada and Fletcher advance, and I think Okada beats Fletcher in the finals. Jeff, what about you?
Ricochet Ospreay. Ricochet wins for the Heat.
Completely different. Okay, Heat, brother. All right, Kevin, what do you think?
I was thinking Okada Ospreay, and Okada wins.
Okay,
Yawn.
that's that's a dream match. Promoted on
You
1 hour's
really
notice.
can't go wrong because you have stories in there. I'm just thinking that hey, if we're putting Ricochet in the IWGP title match,
I think the right thing to do is what you're saying.
Yeah, and Jeff brought up a great point. Like he is wrestling for the IWGP title a week later.
And if they're doing this phony ass war between AEW and New Japan, that would be the pick there.
Yeah, and maybe we see some Hurt Syndicate in Japan to help out him. All right, the Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander for the TBS Championship. It's got to be Mercedes. This is the worst build ever.
Too soon to go back to that. I don't understand it at all.
No, me neither. And also going back to Chris and Willow as a team is baffling. But
let me say also, the fact that Anna Jay did not get a pay-per-view match against either Mariah May or Mercedes is malpractice.
That was the
groundswell support for her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
The move was to do Anna Jay and Mercedes here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you could have just had Mercedes like against Emmy Soccer or something. They probably
gives
did.
a shit about Chris Statlander. I'm sorry, but
all right. Konosuke Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs for the AEW International Championship. Yes, Takeshita's a champion. I'm going with Hobbs here, and the reason I'm going with Hobbs is because Takeshita is supposed to wrestle Shingo in a double title match on Wrestle Kingdom, and then the winner is supposed to defend both belts against Ishii on the next night on Wrestle Dynasty. And if Hobbs wins, then it's only going to be for Shingo's belt both nights. So that's why I'm picking Takeshita, why I'm picking Hobbs. That's the only reason. But I don't know. Logic would say that Takeshita retains, but
I say Takeshita retains and beats both the New Japan guys.
So he comes back with 2 belts?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin?
Same.
Okay. So if
Hobbs
wins, I'm a genius. And if not, well, I'm just somebody that makes dumb picks.
It's fine either way. It's just one of those things where I do think that there is an investment on both AEW and New Japan's interest to make Takeshita bigger than he is right now.
Fair enough. Mariah May and Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight for the AEW Women's World Championship. I mean, come on.
This match steals the show.
It could. Papa
Does
Rosa.
this take the spot of the annual year-end Rampage women's hardcore match that's not happening this year?
Unless it is.
End of the year. Yeah, the end of the year hardcore women's division comes out. Yeah.
That could be. Yeah, and these are the two to do it.
And Thunder Rosa's great in these matches. There's no way in hell she's beating Mariah May though.
No, I think you're right though. I think it's going to be she'll steal the
show. But I mean, Mariah May's retaining, no question.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Mariah May doing hardcore stuff for a woman that beautiful is going to be one of those things where we might overpraise it. That's why I think it's going to steal the show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you know who the next one to be doing that stuff is going to be is Harley. I don't know when, but soon.
I don't.
Yeah. And then we're heading to Mariah and Tony in Brisbane in 6 weeks. For the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring, MJF and Adam Cole. MJF's got to hold this. He's got to be the forever Diamond Ring champion. Oh my gosh, in my opinion.
It's the only reason I'm not picking Okada to win the Continental. Because MJF has to always have this type of a thing.
Yeah, got to be him, right?
I don't know. I think they may give it to Adam Cole just to do a just to do a Lord of the Rings story where the ring corrupts him and he becomes.
We didn't
again.
do any negative awards, but if we had the exact opposite,
It would have all
most
been Adam
improved-
Cole.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
it
but the
would have all
exact
been Adam
opposite of
Cole.
most improved would have been Adam Cole. Like
Yeah.
he is so cold, like it's ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's sad.
yeah. But so we're all.
It feels like he beats MJF with the ring. I'm sorry, it just does. Maybe he lays it on his chest as he leaves, as he doesn't need it anymore.
Oh, and then MJF gets keep. Stupid thing is MJF already gave away his ring. We saw that.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave it to Don Callis.
I think the important thing is how Kyle O'Reilly feels about the whole thing.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, the closing scene is going to be Kyle and Adam staring at each other
When
Yeah.
Kyle saves him from the kingdom,
cool Kyle. Yeah.
because
the- and
nobody
the king.
cares. God.
Yeah. this is so
Bobby Fish is laughing and rolling in his grave right now.
I think he may still be alive.
That's
But
the joke.
I know
Continue.
we saw a complete unknown tonight, and my wife asked me on the way out. She goes, when did Bob Dylan die?" I'm like, got some news for you. She's still very much
Still
with us.
there.
Yeah, 4-way match for the AEW World Championship. John Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Jay White. So Jay White, who has got Moxley's number, never lost to him in a singles match. Hangman, who's a loser that lost to Jay White twice, and Orange Cassidy, who Moxley murdered on the last pay-per-view. Moxley retains. That's it.
We're going to be mad as hell after this match because it's going to be all contrived angle with Chris Daniels somehow trying
Yep.
to win it for
Oh,
Hangman.
God. Backfiring and
Yes, it's going to backfire, and this will finally turn Hangman back babyface
Yep.
after burning a house.
this Omega return here.
I don't think so, as I think he's
No.
in Japan.
Yes.
I don't think he's in Japan. Didn't he just post a video from Winnipeg? He
I don't-
training?
I
he
thought I saw that, but then I thought someone said that was actually from a couple of years ago.
Where is this
Oh,
pay-per-view?
okay. Maybe I'm wrong. The pay-per-view's in Florida.
No, there's no way in hell he's going to go cross country and then in Japan. I think
I think he does return, but not for this. I think he returns to confront Okada after he wins the tournament. That's my call. But because Okada's the one that killed him in Winnipeg, and we got to have continuation.
all right. I need to explain to Curryhead what a MacGuffin is. It's never
Okay.
explained what a MacGuffin is. It's just
Would
something
you say
that's
Daniels becomes the MacGuffin?
no. Because we
Title's
know
the
what
MacGuffin.
we know what unless we never explain his reasoning for what he's going to do, and that's going to be a major part of Wednesday's Dynamite when he
Yeah.
blows it for Hangman.
Yeah, and then they'll just do a quick blow off, and that'll be it. Curry had also wanted to know. He wants all three of us to answer. Kevin already did in the chat. If it wasn't for your job, would you buy this pay per view? All three of y'all answer. First of all,
This
it's
is my
not
this is my
job.
jo- this is my job.
yeah. So I mean,
Did Curryhead send a super chat that I'm not aware of somewhere? Okay.
I probably am gonna buy it, but it's more to do with the fact that there hasn't been a lot going on this month, so I can kind of. I
I got a 2-for-1 deal on
Oh, there you go.
Full Gear and
Yeah,
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Bengals are playing, and I'm also flying back that day. I'll wait to hear how it was, and then I'll watch maybe a replay.
You'll figure out a way to watch it.
No, I will. I actually purchase AEW
Okay.
pay-per-views and then deduct them from my taxes.
I
So,
don't think I
yes.
would pay the full price for this one, but I'm quite content to pay the Triller discounted price. So that is that. So I want to thank everybody for watching and listening, and I want to thank you guys for joining me for the 2024 Hook Awards.
joining us.
I said you two
He's
joining me,
thanking you for joining him.
Kevin and Jeff for joining me.
Okay, there we go.
Kevin for joining us, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Shout out to James McDaniel for not getting involved in this
Yes,
train wreck of a show.
we couldn't meet his asking price, but he was
Nope.
going to host, and unfortunately he couldn't make it. But it would have been nice because no, I'm not even going to say what he told us. But yeah, it would have been
It would have
interesting
been
to have him
a
on the
very
show.
interesting show.
That's all I'll say. So yeah, so for Kevin Ely, for Jeff Hawkins. Oh, plugs.
At Crap Game 13, I do a show called Shake Them Ropes on the Voices Wrestling Network. We did our Ask Us Anything end of the year filler episode because we don't want to watch wrestling between Christmas and New Year's. It's
There you
out
go.
now.
Okay, Kevin. I guess you may or may not
be
doing
here. I'll be here Saturday, most likely, unless
counting on
something
your
comes up.
company. So don't you dare miss it. In fact, you be sure of it. And speaking of which, I did 2 shows with David Lovell on. So if you want to go find him on Facebook, David Lovell, Lovell. We did a Christmas Day surprise show, 15 songs that appear to be random that aren't random at all. You have to figure out the theme. And on Boxing Day, we did a combined show where we each picked 7 artists from our home country, since Boxing Day is a holiday in both countries. And we closed it off with a duet featuring a Canadian and a UK person. So check those out on Facebook, free for anybody that wants to listen. And Jeff and I will be back next week in our regular time slot with the Dynamite Show, Wednesday night, 10:20 Eastern. So for Jeff Hawkins, for Kevin Ely, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.